Welcome to Disrupt Everything podcast series. Today we are recording a new episode for podcast and for video from the Shaolin Temple here in the day number 4 or 5 in the bootcamp, in the Shaolin Bootcamp. And today I have a special guest. We know each other from 3 or 4 years ago. Miao Jian, from master student from the Shaolin Temple Europe, learning Kung Fu, Qigong and Taiji under Shifu Shi Heng and Shi Heng Xuan, and also learning TCM, traditional Chinese medicine.
Yes.
Welcome and thank you for the chance to have a conversation and ask you some questions about you, your life, your development, and thank you for being in Disrupt Everything podcast series.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So it's very exciting to me, like get to know people from the Shaolin Temple, and also people that like you have been living here for. Last time we chat, you told me that 4 years and a half.
Yeah.
So tell me, first question I would like to ask you is, how did you get to the temple 4 years and a half ago?
Okay. Once again, thank you for having this interview with me. I was a guest, like everybody else, when I came here. And when I left school, I just typed in monastery in Germany because I thought, okay, it's a good idea to go for a monastery for a while. However you come on this idea, I guess everybody at one point has this idea in his head. And when I was here, there were 5 people for monastery at the time. And Shi Miao Jian was already half a year a disciple. No, actually 1 year. And then I applied and I got taken as a disciple. So I stayed 2 year disciple. Then afterwards I left for a while, just a few months. And then Shifu offered me to become a master student. Because he said, okay, if you don't want to become a novice like Shi Miao Jian, you can also, because these methods are for everybody to, get some benefit from it. And so if you have the time and the possibility to dedicate yourself, you can stay here under the same rules. So if I stay here, I have the same rules like Shi Miao Jian, but you don't get ordinated as a monk.
I was going to ask you the difference between novice and master student.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That is basically the difference. You can imagine it like this. Lay monk ordination, that's what I'm getting, or Shifu has about 45, 50 vows. A monk, fully ordained monk in the classical Vinaya, 250 to 300, depends on the order. So just the difference. Also, here I'm under the rules of the monastery and the temple, but outside I'm just a normal guy. If you become a monk, you're always a monk. It's a different path than somebody who says, okay, I visit the temple to invest in myself.
Like, for example, me.
Yes, exactly. Some visit for 1 week, I visit for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, why did you type for a monastery when you were in school?
It was directly after school. And first of all, I tried out university and it didn't work for me. And my mother died at that point. So I had to get my mind a little bit, new perspective.
Yeah. And so after 4 years and a half, if you were about to put together, before that, if you were about to put together, like what have been your milestones or the I would say that way, stellar moments or highlight moments in these 4 years and a half here?
Okay. One highlight moment definitely was maybe when I came here as an applicant, and I was very nervous, and I think a lot of people had this moment already. The first thing I saw when I came in here was Shi Miao Jian with his typical smile and waving at me, you know, and all my nervousness was gone. Okay, you can take that as a stellar moment.
Wow.
And there was definitely a lot of more like big moments in the beginning, especially when I had to stay here for 3 months in the beginning, and then you can come home. Was a big shift, for example, there. But after some time, when you spend the time here and you come here, you go out again, come here, it gets normal, and the two worlds combine, yes, and it's more like a steady drop, like every day consistency, you know. Shifu often talks about that consistency, and everybody talks about it, and yeah, so this lifestyle becomes a consistency, and then stellar moments or highlights. Yeah, in the thing that I'm going for here, what I want to learn here, they play no role, because the stellar, got hung up on this word stellar moments, but these highlights, you shouldn't get, you shouldn't focus on them or shouldn't get attached on them. That's why, yeah, for sure I had some, let's say, funny highlights, like, or some also crucial highlights, all of it, you know, like. For some people, it might be a highlight to come here for a festival and see Shifu breaking the stone. But they don't see Shifu every day training and know what he does every day, and already not only training, but years before already investing into about finding out about these methods and making connections. And yeah, so back again, highlight moments, okay, but the steady drop is what is the most important here.
Steady drop.
Yeah. And that's why it's so nice to be here, because my steady drop is being exposed to the teaching of masters, being exposed to a lot of people that are interested in this topic here, and the temple atmosphere. And I'm not exposed every day steady drop to media, consume, everything. So this is the best part about this place.
I was going to ask you, what were the main differences that you encountered the first time that you went to real life after the first 3 months here?
Yeah. First of all, this is real life.
Yeah.
And
yeah, let's say the outside the temple, right?
yeah. The biggest difference was, I would say, being in nature, definitely. Because here you wake up every day and you walk out and you see the woods. And before I was not used to that. So for sure there was some forests around my hometown, but there was always houses and civilization, and you move and you go into the bus and the train, and here first thing you wake up, you are in the woods and you meditate, or you go for a run, or you connect somehow with the nature, which I'm very grateful for, because also some monasteries are in cities. So this is something very significant. What also was very, at that time, never before I had a real job, you know. So, no, it was a lot at once together for me. New things, yeah. And dealing with being a student of a Shaolin master and so on. I mean, I'm very grateful that I didn't have to search all my life like other people do for the right teacher or teachers. And yeah. And responsibility, I would say. Everything at once.
And now that you are integrated these two worlds, which are the same, how how have you changed over time in this relationship between being a master student, but also, being outside I wouldn't say normal person, just a person, I would say that.
Yes, that's so. Already by saying it, there's no difference between a master student and a normal person, you realize. And also there's no difference between a novice and a normal person. And there's also no... There are some differences, but when I was in Thailand this year, they always said, same, but different. So like this, it's same, but different. For sure we do other things, but all the guests that come here, they're on the same way, basically, because they search for something. So the difference is, I would say, that I shouldn't be, definitely not be any proud, or definitely should be, have any kind of illusions about my ability to stay here. Because my possibility to stay here is just a big come together of a lot of circumstances. And yeah, I can just be grateful, and I'm not actually doing it. It gets done to me. So even when I went outside, I had the feeling, okay, I have nothing to do here, and I went back to the temple, and it felt supernatural, and it feels like you go through life, and then some possibility comes, and you go with it. And yeah,
You follow the situation.
yes. You shouldn't get... The problem is if you get too caught up in thinking, and then you think...
Separating things, right?
Yeah, I should learn something, and outside I can have this, and a lot of things. So...
And now that you are mentioning that, how old are you?
24.
24. And how your approach on happiness have changed from before being in the temple to now? So how were you looking at happiness before coming here, and how do you see happiness now?
Yeah, good. Thank you for asking, because I never thought about it a lot, about this, the happiness, how now I think about it. Because here it's a topic, but before, and I think that's the big difference, I wasn't thinking so much about it, or actually being aware of what is changing my moods. So I think the biggest difference is being more in an observer state, without getting weird about it. So how can I say this? That or without, yeah, seeing that you have some things that you can control, and you don't have things that you cannot control. And then watching it, and then seeing, okay, this will make you unhappy, this will make you happy. Okay, good, now you're happy. Now take the things in your hand that you can control, and let go of the things that you cannot control. Basic Buddhist teaching. But it simply became more real here for me. Yeah, that's one thing, that due to the martial arts and Shifu's teaching is very good in making it real. Because in the beginning you listen to all of this and that, and the abbot gives theory lesson, and you listen to, okay, be the observer, you have things not under control, you have things under control. But what it really means, again, it's just a steady drop of training every day, and being more able to really feel it, not intellectualize thinking about it. So I don't feel more happiness, but I know better where my actions will lead to, I would say. And therefore, I guess I'm more happy than before. But because of the things I do now, and yeah. But there are also things I don't have under control.
Of course, and you show that happiness. You transmit also this happiness, and I can say that from the first time I met you to now, you're more bigger, like more with more light. This is at least what you transmit to me. You know, that I try to pay attention on how people evolve over the years. Since we met every year one time, right? But you look like more here. And it's more.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. In the beginning, there's a kind of, but that's completely normal. It's always a changing in betweens, and it's all about the middle way. So you are there, you go for Snickers and video games and all of this, and then you think, okay, this doesn't make me happy. I have to go for meditation 5 hours every day. But
finding somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, how do you find your middle way?
How do I find my middle way? Very abstract question.
How do you find this balance on being like on the equanimity side?
How do I find my balance? So, one good thing about being in a temple is that you have reminders everywhere. And it's not so hard. So, we are always somehow balanced, but it's that we always bend ourselves. So, it's actually, the more you learn about yourself with the practice, the more you find out it's all about your doing, it's, how can I say?
It's in your power. Under your influence.
It's in your power, yes. And then you get reminded all the time by a gong or by a singing bowl or by just seeing the master or by walking into the Buddha hall, walking through the gate, and have a next chance to breathe out and go again. And go again, and then you get out of balance again and go again.
Like a ritual that serves like a present check-ins, right?
Yeah, you can call it a ritual, but a ritual is, you can make rituals in your day, but here basically it's everything.
Yeah, everything is a ritual.
Because you're in a kind of energy field here, let's call it energy field, where also all the time the masters and the teaching and the teaching is present. So it feels like you say something, for example, that was not correct. In the moment you say it, you feel, already you shouldn't have said that. Next time you try again, and then it fails again, and then all the time. So it's more than a ritual. It's for people who like esoterics, it may sound nice, an energy field.
Yeah. What are the habits, daily habits that work better or most for you?
Yeah, the daily habits. Okay. Yeah. First of all, can we make do you make cuts in your interview? Usually? No? Okay, good.
But I can cut this, so no problem.
Okay.
Just give me a second. I'm also checking that everything is
too late. I should have asked that before, right?
Why?
Just because I wanted to...
go to the toilet or something?
Drink something.
You wanna take it? Yeah, take it. I don't cut.
You don't cut?
No. No, I mean I cut, yes, but I don't stop the video.
Okay. I'm back.
So So if you want, I repeat the question, or you can.
The habits, right?
Yeah. You can go with the habits.
Let me think about it. Okay, so in the daily habits, to not make it that easy, because I would say, okay, we have a certain kind of tradition here, we have our way of doing things, but there are some basic principles that for everybody counts. So you don't have to do Kung Fu, or you don't have to do the Buddhist method or whatever. But since my approach is also over the Chinese medicine, I have 5 things that I take care of, which would be the right food, the right movement, the right lifestyle, the right, let's say, social context or relations, and the right sleep.
And can you give us 1 or 2 examples of, or elaborate more about these 5?
Yeah,
Ways?
for sure. Yeah, I'm saying this because as I approach the Chinese medicine, I found out that it helps me to stay in balance, because the Chinese medicine is all about balance. It's the basic principle of yin and yang is there. You have the organs, the meridians, and the whole system is a big simplification. So you can use this simplification to not go like the Western approach, which is also good, like with a binocular, very deep into one thing, but you see the whole picture. And then you balance out the whole picture, and it gives you a nice clue what would be the balance of it. And there is something that is called the yin organs, which are the producing organs of our body. There are 6 of them, but 2 of them are actually the same, almost, pericardium and heart. So let's say 5 yin organs, and then we want to stimulate that they produce the right kind of qi, and that they produce the right kind of products, like food essence or song qi and whatever, for our body. These organs are Chinese organs, sound similar like Western, but it's not exactly the same. It's lungs, spleen, heart, kidney, and liver. And when these 5 are happy, then at least your body is in a good balance, so that you don't have to worry about your body so much anymore. Just bring your mind into balance. Most of the time, it's a simultaneous process. And the spleen is stimulated by the right food, which means not only counting the calories and counting the nutritions, but also when do you eat, how do you make your food, how does your food look, how does it smell, with whom do you eat it, how do you eat it. Everything matters, how much nutrition you can get out of your food. Yeah, basically like this. Let's keep it simple. And then the lung is stimulated by movement. The oxygen intake is stimulated by movement, mostly. For sure you can make breathing exercises, but for somebody who doesn't make qigong or breathing exercises, it's simply move, do something. And the Chinese medicine is responsible for the sweat and connected to the skin. So like Shifu Xingyi says, do something where you sweat.
Every day.
Movement. Then the right lifestyle means don't drink, don't have too much sex, don't drink, don't smoke, don't take drugs, and so on, for the kidneys. Because all of this is weakening the kidneys. And
which is the energy point, no?
Yeah, which is the energy which you get from your parents. Yeah. And it doesn't regenerate. So keep that.
I remember that Shifu said that a few years ago.
Yes, yeah. And it's saved and protected by not doing these kind of things. Yes. Then the heart is very much stimulated by not being lonely, but having good relationships to other human or other beings, let's say like this. this is very basic and very just an example of all these things. There is much more to talk about in the specific organs, but let's stay there. If you have more questions, please ask me.
Yes.
And then the last one is the liver, which is for sleep, because the liver is purifying or cleaning the blood at night. And if you don't sleep correctly, the job is being less well done by the liver.
What have you found most astonishing while studying TCM?
Yeah, that it that when I when I think about TCM, talk about TCM, it already changed for me into something that is everywhere. So, for example, let's say this household here, you have a kitchen, we have a boss, the abbot, we have another boss, Shifu, and let's say, for example, how a liver cheese stagnation in our bosses can cause a whole process in the household that is similar to a stagnation process in our body. You know what I mean? So it's more than just...
it's all interconnected.
Yes, it's more than just looking at the body. It's looking at the whole life of somebody. Yeah.
Would you...
And that comes because TCM is developed by looking at nature and humans at the same time, and not just this separated, but something together.
Just to add, TCM means traditional Chinese medicine.
Yes.
And also one more add. We were mentioning Shi Miao Jian, which is being interviewed also, and you can also find his interview in the podcast or in the video show notes, as well as the interviews that we did with Shifu Shihengyi, also in the podcast show notes and the video description. The interview with Shifu Shihengzuan, he told me next year, but I have the guess that he will tell me next year again. So we will see. We will see. I was going to ask you, what are the three most useful, like small but useful things that people can try, experiment, or do like very quick with traditional Chinese medicine to see something happening?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, very nice question. Okay. I already told you 5, right? So, but let's start with the spleen, the right food. There are hundreds of different opinions about food and this and that, but the first and foremost what everybody has to do in his diet, according to all kinds of different things, is leaving sugar away as much as possible, and the best, cut it completely. The Chinese approach would be the spleen is transforming the essences of the food in the stomach, and it cannot work with amounts, it works with concentration of things. Now think about how much potatoes you have to eat to have so much sugar, like in one bottle of Coke. So if you drink this bottle of Coke, it's for your stomach and your spleen, like you have a bag of potatoes on it. It simply shuts down your digestive fire. Yeah, so
This one.
cut sugar. Then the next thing for the lung, and I think one of the what we do a lot normally, or not me personally, and I guess there are some people who don't do it a lot, is sitting. And if you sit a lot during your day, try to move more, try to stand up more, try to walk, and this and that, because sitting is very tensing and very restricting for the lung. So too much sitting, especially like this, leave it away. So I keep it very simple. Sugar, sitting, and a third thing. I would say take care of your relationships. Yeah. Be aware of who are your friends, and spend important. There's a nice modern term, quality time with them,
Yeah.
and really indulge in and feel the gratefulness for all the people that we are having. I once heard, I think it was I don't know where I heard it, but we should be grateful now that we have so much humans around, because there will be a time when you will be completely lonely. I think he talked about that it will continue after that, and when you die, you're completely lonely. But right now, for taking care of your heart, take care of your relationships, and be grateful for them and for everybody who's around you.
According to your experience, what is the skill that is most needed for people nowadays?
Okay.
And why?
I would say returning back to oneself, because it's not only it's not only nowadays. I think it was always like this, that the world is pulling our senses outwards. So we want to. In the past, it was survival, for example. Nowadays, it's everything else. Media, even kung fu. You have to be very external in your senses and so on. But no, that's a bad example. You know what I mean. Our senses are always driven outwards. We have to. So I think the most important skill is to find a way back to yourself, so you can not be just a piece of pure reaction, but that you actually can bring out something of yourself that is in a state where you're not just purely, let's say, a victim is not the right word. A victim
Like a
of your
marionette,
senses.
right?
A marionette, yes, exactly.
And do you have any special way or a special technique or awareness technique to bring back to yourself?
So that comes back to all what I said before.
Okay.
You have being in an environment that supports this process. So being in a city is definitely not supporting this process. It's the
And how do you do if you are in a city?
It's the challenge. So if I'm in the city, I take care still of my of the things that I said, these 5 things. So, for example, yeah, but to make it easy, you have to find. You said the word rituals. So I think, to keep it easy, have something that is reminding you. And if it might be, for example, an alarm at, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the evening, or I met people, they had an alarm every half hour where they, okay, breathe for 3 times, and then they keep going with it. So a reminder or a ritual, whatever it is, that is
To
at
do the
least
important
letting
thing.
you pausing for 10 seconds to 1 minute to return back to yourself and then go on doing your thing. It can be also bigger, but let's, reminder or ritual.
How is your typical day?
A typical day.
From beginning, maybe here in the monastery or
Yes,
yeah.
a typical day. Standing up, depending on the time of the year, between 6 and 7 o'clock. Then having a first morning routine before the breakfast. That varies. But let's say most of the time we have meditation. Sometimes we have qigong. And sometimes in the year we have running or first very physical training.
I can't
like
say
for
it.
example in the boot camp or in the summer camp or in some special weeks in the summer when it's really getting early, like from June to August, let's say. We have a quite active morning before the breakfast. Then we have breakfast at around 8. Yes. And then after the breakfast, then directly the next training routine. Which means, I say training routine because we have different retreats, different programs And also it always depends, okay, which program is running right now. So from 9 to 11, we have the next training routine where we can put a lot of effort into our things. From 11 to 1, we do all the work that is needed for the temple. Most of the time, it's a little bit more than 2 hours a day. So whenever later, we put it in, and then at 1 we have lunch. And then we have a break. I say break now, but as I said, often we still have to make the shop. We still have to do something else. There is something. Then at 3, another, let's say, training session or theory. And I would say from 3 to 5, always the energy is the lowest somehow. Because the kidneys didn't start yet to produce new energy. And you can feel, okay, after the lunch and after the break time, the energy is a little bit... So there often, I would say, external training is quite good to wake you up. Mm-hmm. And then we have one last time from 5 to 6, if we still have something to do it. In my case, it's everything. Emails, whatever Shifu throws at me, I have to do it. And the other people here in the monastery, they have to make the horses, the other animals, cleaning, cooking. For dinner at 6 o'clock in the evening. And then there's the last session in the evening from 7 to 9. Where, again, theory or training. And then we have an evening ceremony, or we end the day at about 9:30. Often it still is that here and there you have to do something, or you have to still repeat something. So it also varies in the evening, but I would say I take care that the latest that I go into bed is at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To get a quality sleep.
Yes.
I'm just going to check that everything is working. Perfecto. Very interesting. What has Qigong? Before that, what can you say about the bootcamp? And what can you say about the bootcamp? What is your favorite program of all of them? And for the people that hasn't...
3 questions at once?
Yeah, okay, let's say, what can you say about the Shaolin Bootcamp?
Shaolin Bootcamp.
Yeah, briefly, about your experience.
Every program depends, so let's say it like this. Often when I go for a talk with Shifu, I don't know, I travel somewhere, he asked me before, what was the event again? And what do they want? And we have so many different names for the programs that we have, but it's always depending on the people that stand in front of us. So if we have the bootcamp, simply means, okay, in the registration, the people should know this is an intensive week. Don't come here if you want to do Qigong all the time. Mm-hmm. And if you want to challenge yourself. So in the bootcamp, we simply want to really put an emphasis and take care that everybody, doesn't matter on which level he is, comes to a personal limit. He always has the choice. And what I meant from before is that it's all just names for the programs. So bootcamp is bootcamp, monastery is on time is monastery on time. But if we have for example, a group of people that are in a monastery time program, and they are really ready to challenge themselves, then this is more bootcamp than a bootcamp.
You raise their level.
Yeah.
You adjust in the people, yeah.
We always adjust in the people, because that's the basic Zen teaching. Mm-hmm. You cannot stick to your thing and then make something wrong.
Amen. You have any favorite program that you like to teach or participate? Or
No.
Okay.
Whenever, no, it's all good.
No preference.
It's, either I'm with great teachers and I can learn something very good when I'm in the Tai Chi retreat with Shi Heng, when I'm in a Kung Fu retreat with Shi Heng Yi, when I learn from Shi Miao Jian some meditation, when I'm with the abbot in the theory lesson, whatever. Or I have the opportunity to teach something is also very nice. What also often happens here, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity, so I don't have a favorite program actually.
Any recommendation for people that is coming for first time or is looking for to come for first time? Any program or any advice you will give them?
We have it all written actually down, what is monastery in time, retreat and Qigong and this and that on our website.
Read carefully.
Read carefully. But a more basic advice is you come here, you take the thing in, but then you have to do something outside. So don't see it as a okay, I go into the meditation hall, I be all holy, and then I go out again and do my crap. So the best advice is for coming here, taking it as a big opportunity to develop, either if it's Qigong, Kung Fu, it doesn't matter, to take it as a motivation boost and then keep up the energy afterwards. That's my biggest advice, no matter what you come to. If you come to Qigong, you will have some kind of energy, you will have some Kung Fu energy or Buddhism or whatever you come to, and then don't let it die afterwards. Because you decided to not go to Mallorca on the beach, you decided to come here for a weekend or a week, and then afterwards you just, nothing changed. That's a little bit, it's also okay, but remind yourself what you came for.
I'm going to ask you one big teaching that you take from Shifu Shi Heng Xuan, one from the abbot, and one from Shi Miao Jian. Because Shifu, I'm saving for later.
Understand. Okay. If you want to be kind and loving, go to Shi Miao Jian. If you want to be stable and loyal and honest, go to the abbot. If you want to be enlightened, go to Shi Heng Xuan. Okay, like this kind of. So I would say from
very, very well synthesized.
Yeah, from Shi Heng Xuan.
Synthesized.
His it sounds big, this word, because it's loaded up, but
yeah, something.
Yeah, from his kind of teaching, it goes for me personally. I feel like, okay, this is the way to enlightenment.
Wow.
No matter if you don't have to be a monk. It's the journey into oneself in the world that we are in. The abbot is very good in, first of all, teaching you loyalty and bringing out the sides of you that you don't like and that you have to deal with. Because he's the one that goes, you say, for example, as a student here, you say, I want to have holiday here and there. And then he says no. And then you have to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And he's very used to getting the shit. And then, yeah, he's very good in teaching you that you have also these sides of you that go like a little baby, like, no, I don't, I want my holidays and so on. And Shi Miao Jian is simply loving kindness all over the place. So, yeah.
You've been really close to Shifu Shi Heng Yi over the last years. And I want to ask you some questions. First is, what you that are very close, what from your personal experience, because everybody loved the way he talks, the explanations, But it's only the tipping point, you know, it's only the tip of the iceberg, no?
Okay.
You know?
So you want me to
No secrets, no secrets. He will be checking this interview before. So no, I'm just saying, what has impressed you the most about him?
Impressed me the most?
Yeah.
What has impressed me the most? That that he stays with, that he stays loyal to himself. Let's say like this, like true to himself. So whenever you learn from somebody, for a teacher or a master, or you go somewhere, and you shouldn't try to think it and then analyze, and then you just be with your master or your teacher as long as possible, as quality time as possible, show all your thankfulness, and as he likes to say, empty your cup, and then the qualities, they just go like osmosis into you, right? And I think what I learned from him and what impresses me the most is this always, let's say you build something up, it breaks down, something is wrong, okay, you keep going. It breaks down, you keep going. It breaks down, you keep going, keep going. So the, how did you say it? Consistency. Yeah. That he started Kung Fu with 4 years old, and he stayed for it until now, for 36 years. And not only the Kung Fu, everything, like relationships, this changed a lot for me, to not give up on things, because giving up just means postponing it. Yeah. And until now, it not only has impressed me, but it showed me that this is the only way for me, because, and sometimes it's also very hard, because I would like to give up sometimes, but I cannot anymore, because I have Shifu in the back of my head, who doesn't let me...
With the sticker that you show me?
Not the stick, but in a different way.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Yeah. Tell me the 3 biggest learnings that you take from Shifu.
3 biggest learnings?
Yeah, that also, that you said, wow, this has made a difference on me.
I think, first of all, Shifu would like to, at this point of this conversation, add that the teaching is from the Shaolin tradition. And yeah, it's definitely always something bigger than a person. And but it can make your personal life in some ways easier, more fulfilled, more light, all of this. And I wouldn't say, I mean, I already told you one of the biggest teachings, the not giving up. The other thing I would say is having the right method and the right key makes things very easy, because it's okay if you all know about what you want and this and that, but then you have to travel the whole world to find out how to get it. But if you just meet, by however coincidence you want to call it, meet somebody who already went through it successfully and now he wants to teach it, is a big thing. So getting, and then also later giving the key for what you want, this is another thing. It's kept very basically, but I think you understand, right? And yeah, I think let's keep it there.
And now for you, so if you were about to say what's been the biggest so far, 24 years old, no, what's been the biggest learning of my life so far?
The death of my mother.
What did you learn with this?
that I'm alive. I would say.
Now,
Very easily said, but this was, I think, the biggest turning point in my life because before, death did not exist for me. I heard about it, I had some imaginations about it, but then death became real. So also, in a way, my life became real. You know what I mean?
Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get a punch in the face, right?
Yeah.
It's surprising that it's from Mike Tyson, right?
Yeah.
What's the book that has impacted you the most?
A book?
Yeah.
Interesting question. A book that has impacted me most. I was almost about to say Game of Thrones. No, I don't. I don't have the one book that has impacted me the most. I've read books, and I also read books about Buddhism, TCM, and this and that. But what has most impacted me is that how Shi Heng showed me how to let go of my book knowledge and get into and I remember once he told me we were sitting in a restaurant and then it was in after Corona in Copenhagen. I told him yeah, it's but it's like with every Zen quote, they're not real anymore if you tell them. But I asked him, it's nice that we don't have to wear a mask anymore. And he told me, yeah, everybody's wearing a mask all the time, you know. And in these ways, and with the training, he taught me that the book knowledge is the book knowledge, but what really impacted my life more is the practice.
You go through the experience, right?
So that's.
Where do you find motivation?
Where do I find motivation? Okay.
To keep going, you know.
It doesn't need motivation anymore at this point because it became a habit. I guess psychologists talk about this, right? As soon as it's a habit, it doesn't need motivation anymore. In the beginning, I took my motivation. Actually, this is
from the Viking songs.
Viking songs.
Viking songs. Yeah.
In the beginning, I took my motivations when I come here from the cool Kung Fu movements. So you stay here and you see Shifu doing the form and I don't know, breaking a stick, and you think I want to do that, and this external things is motivating you in the beginning, and then you start to train and you train, and then somehow the Qigong and the Tai Chi comes in and the meditation, some aha moments, and you have developed a habit of training and working on yourself at one point that if I don't, it is like a big noise in me that is getting loud. If, for example, if I feel out of balance, it's very uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So, and it's the thing is not, it's not a motivation. It's more a habit or a need. Let's say it like this, to live life, have a good life actually.
And now I'm gonna say 4 words.
You have so many interview tricks.
And then you're gonna tell me what this has give you. It's very easy.
Again.
So I'm gonna say 4 words. What 4 concepts?
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. And every concept I say this, and then you say what this has given to you. So, for example, Kung Fu.
Li, external power.
Qigong.
Internal awareness.
Meditation.
Enjoyment.
And Tai Chi.
Made my Kung Fu and my Qigong and my meditation better.
Wow. And last but not last, let's say last, what message will you send as a parting thoughts to everyone watching this video and listening to this podcast?
A message to everyone.
Yeah.
A message to everyone. Yeah, okay. What I see as a good message always, if we have disciples coming, they saw on the phone or probably on the laptop, like they see us now, or hear us. They saw from the temple or from Shifu video, and they were in a life situation where they thought, I don't like it, and they came here because they think, it's cool. And you might work in a job that you think, what am I doing this for, and so on. But I think the most important, no, not the most important. It's important to love what you do or do what you love. If you have the choice or not, this love is the thing, because we always want what we don't have. And we always want to go somewhere, and now you see a video from the temple and you want to go in the temple, or you see a video how people are happy on Bali, or I don't know, it's raining and you want sun. So
that was a big happening this week.
Yeah, it was raining all the time, and that was a good practice, good possibility to say, okay, it's raining now. You're poor, you're rich. Sometimes when people are rich, even they say, I don't want this, and they sell everything. Or arrive in the moment, do what you love or love what you do. This is my message. Yeah. Be happy where you are.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, only for this thing, especially the mistakes. So with this journey, I saw a lot of mistakes on others, but also even more, since I have the view of myself, I saw a lot of mistakes about myself, and personally I got very hard on myself about my mistakes, and I want to improve myself. But I came, especially in the last days, also more okay with my own mistakes. So yeah, that's the only thing I want to add.
And where people can find more about you if they want to know more about you?
In the temple.
Okay, so you have to come to the temple to know more. So
yeah.
For Miao Jian, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure and an honor, and big respect for the time, also for the trust to have this interview. This is Miao Jian for Disrupt Everything podcast series, a podcast where we deconstruct, dissect, and talk about disruptors, high performers, people that goes beyond the normal limitations and, jump above their common boundaries to help others and support and empower and give the best of themselves and sharing themselves. If you resonate with this, you will find the videos and the YouTube channel, the Shaolin Temple Europe website in the podcast and the description of the video. And again, thank you, and let's keep on walking on the way. Now, one last thing is you just watch at the camera and say, hi, I'm my name, and you are listening Disrupt Everything podcast series with Isra Garcia, and we are going to talk about finding the balance, traditional Chinese medicine, living in the Shaolin Temple, and like Kung Fu practice, whatever you feel like is being the interview.
Hello everyone, you're listening to Disrupt Everything podcast with Isra Garcia. My name is Miao Jian, and today we talk about my life here in the temple and about all the things that Isra and me find out while staying here.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, man.